Welcome back. After a long break, we're finally going to add some exciting features to our SmartBrain app. And by the way, while you've been away, I've managed to fool our Clarify API. Apparently, it cannot recognize upside down faces. But anyway, let's go back to work. Now, we have our front-end app, that is the SmartBrain, that is a React app, and it's running on localhost 3001, so port 3001. And then we also have our SmartBrain API, which we've been working on, and actually we've Dockerized it. It now has a Docker file with Docker Compose and does all these amazing things for us. Instead of us having to worry about databases and setting up everything, we now have this Dockerized backend API with some seed data. And in here, I've simplified things and just made a user with email a@a.com with password A. This is a hash password of using bcrypt that, if compared with the letter A, is going to match. Now, since we have our developer environment set up, and let me clear this, we now have the ability to do some really good quality work and implement sessions. Because ideally, if we go back to our server.js file, in our endpoints over here, let's make this a little bit smaller so we can see. Up until now, we've kind of had this free access to sign in and register, profile ID, for example. Nobody's checking these. If, for example, this profile ID, somebody did a GET request from anywhere in the world, they'll have access to this because we're not really asking for a username or password at this endpoint. I mean, we are for the sign-in, but anybody can log on to here. Ideally, we have something in here that says we need to require auth. Because the way that Express works, just like Cores and Body Parser and Morgan work, they're middleware. They intercept whatever request response we receive. They do some work around it, does something, and then they keep pushing it out to the end of the cycle. In our case, for profile ID, is to handle profile get. But wouldn't it be nice to have something like require auth, and for every endpoint that we need authentication, the user has to actually have permission to access this endpoint, we can just implement it here. And that's what we're going to do over the next couple of videos. We're going to use JWT, Redis, and all those things that we've learned together to finally make an app that actually functions like apps we see in our day-to-day lives. And the cool part about it is by the end of this, you'll have an app, like the SmartBrain app, that you can always mimic, copy, and modify based on your needs. But you'll have your sign-in, login functionality, you'll have a sign-in page, register page already set up, and you already have a server and Docker, Redis database all set up. It's going to be a lot of fun, and by the end of it, we're going to have a great tool for us to put into our portfolio or use for any of our future projects. Now, the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to remove whatever I just wrote because we don't have that yet. We want to make sure that we can run our backend. So again, we're going to run our Docker Compose up with -- build just to make sure that my seed data and my databases get created. And while that's running, I'm going to go back. We see that the front end is already running and everything should be working fine. Just to test everything out, once everything is running, which it is, we have app is running on port 3000. Let's refresh over here. If I sign in with a@a.com, which is the seed data we've provided, we're able to log in. And once again, we can just enter a picture and it will work for us. But again, our problem is that every time we refresh, well, we have to sign in. That's a little bit annoying if you're a user, isn't it? All right, in the next video, we're going to start building out a profile page. Because in order for us to build sessions and do the require auth that we were talking about, we need to have some sort of a meaningful reason to do this. So we're going to create a profile page where you'll be able to actually edit your name, maybe some form fields about your profile, so that we make our app a little bit more dynamic. And then we're going to add sessions to that. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.